Hello and welcome to Live a Little Higher. This week we live with the parasha of Beshalach, which means he sent forth. It's not a very positive connotation, who sent forth, and it is about Pharaoh after the 10 plagues, after the last and devastating plague, which was the death of the firstborn. Finally decided to let the Jewish people go, and he tells Moshe and Aaron, like, get out of here, leave. And like in an instant, these people only had a few hours to get ready and leave. They left without bread. They didn't even have time for the bread to rise. And this is why in Pesach, in Passover, we eat matzah, because they left at midday with whatever they had all this fortune that was given to them by the Egyptians, a lot of cattle and silver and gold, and they left with the matzahs and they went on their way. Why is it a negative connotation? Because the word Beshalach is like a moaning expression, like Beshalach, like Pharaoh wasn't really happy to let the Jewish people go, because for a few reasons. He wouldn't have workers in Egypt that would do the work for free, and now the Egyptian people had to do their own things. And also it says that the Canaanites were not happy because they knew that the Jewish people were on their way to conquer the land of Israel. So for many reasons, it's not a positive connotation on their side. In our side, is a very happy one, but for them it was a loss. So the Jewish people leave Egypt and they're on their way, and this is a parasha that it's full of miracles, open and revealed miracles in the history of the Jewish people. We have never seen miracles like the ones that we're going to encounter now in the years of the Jews living in the desert. We don't see them today. We see miracles in which we see that there's things in nature or the order of the world that are transformed, that are changed, and then we can see miracles, but not the size of the miracles that were seen in the times of the Exodus. So the first miracle the Jewish people encountered was the splitting of the Red Sea. And for this, we have to understand we're not going to see it in the perspective of Hashem, and we're not going to see it in the perspective of the supra-rational way of the world. We're going to see it in the perspective of a simple Jew that just left Egypt and is on his way to a new life, and he doesn't know what's going to be in his life. He doesn't know what's going to be. He just left with faith in God and in Moshe Rabbeinu that things are going to be for the better. And I have to make a point here. Only 20% of the Jewish people of Egypt left Egypt. The other 80% died in the plague of darkness. They didn't want to go. They were scared. They were too happy. They preferred being slaves and knowing what they had than to go out and encounter a new life. So most of them didn't leave, only 20%, and there was also a mixed multitude of Egyptians that decided to go with them. But let's look at this miraculous experience that the Jewish people lived, and how should we approach miracles. So first of all, we have to understand what is a miracle. A miracle is something that is not in the laws of nature, that it's something that gets out of the laws of nature and it jumps it. So for example, if the sun would rise today at 12 in the midday, until 12 it's dark, then you would say this is a miracle. But since the sun rises up every day at the same time, and it falls, the sunset falls at the same time, then we don't see this as a miraculous thing. We see it as a normal occurrence of the day. This is how it is. But in reality, it is a miracle that the sun rises every day and it sets every day. It is miraculous. What happens is that anything that is constant is not a miracle at all. We get used to it, and we don't acknowledge it, and we don't appreciate it because we think this is the way it is. So let's look at the Jews going into the Sea of Reeds, the Red Sea, the Yam Suf. What happened there was a complete miraculous experience. Why? Because the water changed completely. Physically, it changed. It became solid. And for us to see water becoming solid is like only an ice cube in the fridge. But if you were walking and you want to cross a river and suddenly it parts and it becomes solid walls, then it would be a miraculous event. So what happened here is that after the Jewish people crossed the Red Sea, they burst in song. And there's a beautiful song written. It's called the Song of the Red Sea. It's more the Shabbat. It's called the Shabbat of Song, Shira Shabbat. And it's a song where the Jewish people express their gratitude to God and the awesomeness of the moment and the experience they felt. They say that even the babies that were in the mother's womb were singing this song. So this process of the splitting of the Red Sea obviously was an opened and revealed miracle, was something that was never seen before, and we have never seen it again. It's something that even changed people's lives completely. And Yitro, Joseph's father-in-law, we're going to see next week in the next parasha, Yitro, that he converts to Judaism because of this experience that the Jewish people experienced. Not only that, we see in that experience of the splitting of the Red Sea, Mida keneged Mida. What goes around comes around. Since the Egyptians used to drown the Jewish babies in the Nile River, at the end Hashem drowned the Egyptians in the Red Sea. And this is something that is major also in faith and emunah and bitachon, that we know that everything that we do has a consequence, and everything that people do have a consequence, and at the end Hashem doesn't miss a bit. Whatever you do is going to come back to you, and whatever someone else does to you is going to come back to them. So this is something that is very strong. Also, what happens to a person that just experienced an experience like the splitting of the Red Sea? How can he become the same person he was before? We hear stories of survivors of plane crashes, that they survive a plane crash and they're the only survivors. And after these experiences, they're never able to live the same way again. They feel that they're invincible. They feel like they can do whatever they want in life, like nothing will happen to them. And this is how the Jewish people felt at that moment when they were able to cross the bed of the sea. It became dry land. They could see everything that was there. Not only that, the walls of the water became the walls, allowed them to see through everything that was in the ocean. So it was also a revelation of something that was occult. It was something that we didn't even know it existed. People didn't even know there was such a life inside of an ocean because they had never seen it. Like today, people that go scuba diving and snorkeling, so you can see more or less what's underneath. It's not a mystery anymore. But from here we learn that there's so many mysteries in life. Life is mysterious. We don't see everything. We don't know everything. There's things that we don't hear and we don't see. For example, if you would have told your great-grandparents that there's a device that you can listen to voices, they would look at you and they would say, "You're crazy, you're nuts." But today, you turn on the TV, not only you listen to voices, you see people. So all these things that are becoming revealed in our lifetime, like the iPhones and computers, all this new technology, every day brings us closer to the truth, because we're able to see things that before were hidden and people didn't even know they exist. So for us to be able to build our emunah, our faith in God, is much easier today than in olden days, because we can see things that before were hidden. And we can come to the conclusion that we don't need to see Hashem to know that He exists, because one day we'll see Him. But for now, we know He's there. And there's many things that are there that we can't see and we can't perceive right now. But eventually, with time, we'll get there, God willing, when Mashiach comes. So this whole article from the book of Rabbi Steinsfeld is questioning if miracles allow a Jew to be more connected to God. Does it make it easier for a Jew to be able to fulfill his obligations as a Jew? And the truth is that it doesn't make a difference if you have miracles in your life or not. And we're going to see why. Because the people, after they left the Red Sea, there's a few miracles that happened to them on the way. One was that Hashem fed them through the manna throughout all the years in the desert. First, it should have been 40 days. But because of the sin of the golden calf, it ended up being 40 years. So for 40 years, God sent to them every day, He would send them their food from heaven. They didn't even have to go and look for it. They say that people had more emunah, it would fall on their doorstep, and the people who had less faith had to walk and look for it. But eventually, nobody died of hunger and everybody had food. Not only that, Hashem sent everybody what they needed for the day. And if they took more, it would rot. Worms would come out of it. And for Shabbat, He would send a double portion so they should have it for the next day. And the miracle was that it would not rot. It would stay fresh for them to be able to eat it on Shabbat. We see that Hashem took them like little babies. Like they were taken such good care, and it was by miracles. They had the manna that would fall for them every day from heaven, and this miracle came in the sehut, in the merit of Moshe Rabbeinu, and they had the merit of Miriam, the sister of Moshe, that because of her they always traveled with a spring of water. They never lacked water. And because of the merit of Aaron HaKohen, Aaron, Moshe's brother, they merited the clouds of glory that would accompany them throughout their journey in the desert, which protected them from anything that would harm them from the outside, animals, the weather, whatever was outside, they were protected. So we see from here that these people, they lived from miracle to miracle. It eventually became normal to them. They didn't see them as miracles, but if you look at it, it was a miraculous existence. Who can survive a desert for 40 years? And here we see also that they came to Marah, and there was a spring of water, and they started drinking water, and the water was bitter. And they started complaining. So the question is, these people, they're given everything a person could ever desire. They lacked nothing. Their clothes would not get dirty. It would grow with them. And even though they had everything, they kept complaining. They were always complaining. They were stubborn people. They had a stubborn heart. And we can see from here that a miraculous life doesn't make a person a better person. And we have to learn that the only way that a person can be connected to God and be happy and be fulfilled and have a good life and do Torah and do mitzvahs is because he so desires. It's because of his free will. So from here we learn that nothing is an excuse for us. If a person has a hard life, he doesn't want to learn Torah, he's not going to learn Torah. If he's a rich person and has everything around him and he doesn't want to learn Torah, he's not going to learn Torah. And if he's a poor person and he wants to learn Torah, he's going to learn Torah. And if he's a rich person and he wants to learn Torah, he's going to learn Torah. So the outside environment, whatever happens to us in our life, the parents we have, the economical situation we live in, if we live in a place that is hard for the Jews, that is anti-Semitic, that it's not easy to be a Jew there, or you live in a place where you can be a free Jew and do whatever you want, it's not what will create a God-fearing Jew. A God-fearing Jew will be created because he wants to be God-fearing. And this is the biggest test that we learn from this Torah portion, and it is that in life we're tested and we are put to the challenge to see which direction we want to take. And that's the biggest gift God gave us. He gave us free will. It comes from us. So if we're going to be spiritually motivated and Jews that want to follow Torah and mitzvot, it's not going to come because they have a comfortable, nice life or they have a hard life. It's going to come because it comes from within. It comes from inside of the Jew. And his desire to be connected to God. And that's the free will. The free will is to have the desire, is to want it. It's not even to do the right thing or the wrong thing. We choose that once we have the desire. But if a person doesn't have the desire to be a good person, then there's no free will. And from here we learn this. So our true free will comes from our desire. And in conclusion, Rabbi Aydin Steinsveld says that the nameless Jew that we talked about in the beginning, this Jew that just came out of Egypt, who has experienced both the high point of splitting of the Red Sea and the low point of the waters of the Marah, of the bitter waters, remains a bit stubborn and rebellious. And this stubbornness is not a bad thing, because it can really be good it can stand in our favor in the way that we will not fall into anything. It's very hard to move a Jew. It's very hard to convince him otherwise, to go in a different direction than his true identity calls for. So this is something that really protects us. But this stubbornness should be used for this. It should not be used for the fulfilling of Hashem's will. So the most effective path to this change is not clearly defined. Perhaps miracles are necessary and perhaps they're not. But when a person uses his free will, the hallmark of his humanity, to draw closer to God, then change is always possible. So I wish you a good week, a blessed week, a week in which you can see the miracles around you, because the miracle is to see the miracle and to not take them for granted. Just to wake up every day and be able to open your eyes and breathe and move and walk and go to work and have your coffee and go to the gym and enjoy your granddaughter is a miracle. Everything in life is a miracle. But since it becomes something common for us, then it loses the status of a miracle. But it is a miracle. The day you don't have it anymore, then you really realize what a miracle it was. So may we never miss our miracles. May we always enjoy them. And may we always be grateful and live a little higher. Thank you.